Αγαπητοί φίλοι και φίλες, καλησπέρα. Καλώς ορίσατε στην εκπομπή ΥΓΕΙΑ ΚΑΙ ΕΥΕΞΙΑ. Το σημερινό μας θέμα είναι η γήρανση, υγιής γήρανση, αντιγύρανση. Και φιλοξενούμενός μας είναι ο βιογεροντολόγος Dr Suresh Rattan, ο οποίος θα μας μιλήσει για αυτό το πολύ ενδιαφέρον θέμα. Good afternoon, Suresh. It's really a pleasure to have you today at Health and Wellness Show. And
good afternoon,
thank you.
Vasula. Good afternoon. Great to see you.
Likewise. Now, before you tell us all your secrets, because I'm really keen to know how can you stay young.
Yes.
And can you tell us a bit about your background and how you became interested in the field of biogerontology?
Oh, that will have to be a long story.
It's a lot, I know.
Yeah, 67 years ago. 67 years ago, I was born in a holy city of India called Amritsar, which is in the northwest near Pakistan border. That's a very, very holy city whose name means Amritsar, the pond of immortality. And there is this famous golden temple for Sikhs. Yeah, so I was born in a Sikh family in 1955, actually in the premises of that holiest of the holy temple, which deals with the question of immortality. So maybe that was the reason I somehow got interested in the questions of life and death and immortality. So, but of course, then education follows. I got all my first education to first level of masters in that town, Amritsar. And then as it happens to many people that what kind of teachers you come across and who influences you, who inspires you. So at the university level, one of the teachers, Professor Suresh Rattan, who died 2 years ago, he was so inspiring and he was working on aging and I wanted to work with him. So basically that was in a way, the chance event in life. Many times things happen by chance, actually. Yeah, we cannot plan everything. Maybe when I was a college student, I actually wanted to become a detective in the police or in the army, or later on a medical student, but I couldn't get admission into medical science, medical college. I didn't have enough grades, maybe. But then I went into this biology study where I met Professor Sharma, and he inspired me to work on the question of why we age. So that's my story. Then from Amritsar, I moved to Delhi, to India's premier university, Jawaharlal Nehru University, where I did my second master's on the question of regeneration in hydra. You know this hydra, which you can cut and it will always become new. You can cut again and again. And then I got a chance to do my PhD in England, in the Medical Research Council, with a very, very brilliant molecular biologist, Robin Holliday. So those who study molecular biology, they know what are Holliday junctions. Yeah, this is the DNA recombination guy. He was at that time interested in aging research, and that's where I did my PhD on the question of how human cells, especially fibroblasts, go through aging process, error theory, whatever that was popular at that time in 1979 to 1982. And then I came to Denmark in 1984, where I established a laboratory on the cellular aging. And also after 10 years, I got the Danish Doctor of Science degree in biogerontology, which to the best of my knowledge was perhaps one of the first in the world that anybody trained all the way in the field of aging, not coming from here and there, but grew up in the field of aging. So I have been aging almost all my life.
Suresh, I had the honor to meet you at the second Mediterranean Congress in Cyprus, in Larnaca.
Yes, I remember.
I mean, your presentation was so fascinating. You know, there's so much that you can tell and you can share with us. And as I said, you know, in our correspondence, I really want to cover everything. You spoke about hormesis, about saw lots of videos on YouTube that you talk and about 2 minutes how you can stay young, something in 2 minutes, But first, before we go into details, I mean, can you tell us what is actually biogerontology?
Okay. Well,
Yes.
The old word gerontology, which comes from the Greek origin, I think from the gerontology or gerontology, the study of old age or study of aging. But because aging can be studied or analyzed either at biological level or sociological level or psychological level. So then we created this sub terms that if I am focusing on the biology of aging, then we call it biogerontology. Actually, I was perhaps the first person to coin that word in about mid-1996 or 7. Before that, people used to call it biology of aging. But then we said biogerontology because I started a journal also, which is published by Springer Nature called Biogerontology. And that word became very accepted and popular. And now people feel proud of being called a biogerontologist. But then there are social gerontologists or psychogerontologists. So understanding aging at the biological level is biogerontology. Which is different from geriatrics. Geriatrics is the understanding of age-related diseases and their treatment and management. That's a clinical side. Biogerontology primarily is basic research side. And now people have coined a new term called the geroscience. That is more like when you deal with the biology of aging by intervention, and they would like to call it geroscience. That's also becoming quite popular. But I still think I am a biogerontologist.
Thank you for clarifying this, because we can easily confuse it, and perhaps we can think that it's the same thing because it sounds similar. So thank you for doing that. Suresh, your biography, as I would say, your CV, it's huge. I mean, I can only remember perhaps 2, 3, but I mean, you have achieved so much, during the time that you started, studying this fascinating topic. I could see also that you work with, cream, some brands with cream, if I'm not mistaken. And
you want to know about that first, or what?
I think it would be a good idea. If you can tell us about
Well, I can tell briefly because that was not my main research focus, but because our laboratories in Denmark, where I was invited by Professor Brian Clark, who had created an international company with several Nobel laureates in Oxford and Cambridge, that was called Senetec. They were the ones giving grants for our research. So then I was instructed that I should also consider if something slows down aging of the cells, that I should not ignore it. And by chance, again, within 2-3 years of research in Denmark, I was able to discover a compound which had very powerful aging modulatory effects in cell culture. But the world made it in a big story as if it is taking care of aging at all levels. That's how the world deals with it. So based on that research of the compound kinetin, which is originally known as plant hormone, but that's present even in our own bodies, then lots and lots of cosmetics were produced for a while. Even Body Shop and some of the French companies and American companies, they were then selling those products. Eventually, it was all then taken over by a company called Valiant. And I think they still market kinetin-based and zeatin-based certain cosmetics. But remember, cosmetics are different from drugs. Cosmetics are some things which actually don't do anything to the body. A cosmetic is not supposed to do anything. That's why it's called cosmetic. If something starts doing something to the body inside, the FDA will immediately stop it and ask you to do drug research. And drug research costs hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. But cosmetic research is very cheaper relatively and quicker. Only thing you have to show is that it doesn't do any immediate harm. But cosmetics only do their best in maintaining moisture. Yeah, all cosmetics do the same. Some cosmetics in modern time have these compounds like kinetin, which are very powerful pharmaceutical compounds, but they are used at a cosmetic level. So that's why there is a second word, cosmeceuticals. So these are cosmeceuticals which have potentially the compounds which can have very strong biological effects, if you want anti-wrinkle or whatever, but they cannot claim it because then they have to produce a drug. So yes, it's true that some of my research ended up into cosmeceutical industry, but that was not my primary aim because that did not make me understand what is going on, how it was going on. But yes, that company made many, many times more money than they had invested in our research lab. But I had the patent from about 95 countries around the world, but they had the right to develop anything. So that's the story of cosmetics. And that's,
cosmetics, yes. Very interesting, yes. So what are some current theories or hypotheses about the underlying causes of aging?
Well, that's the central part of biogerontology. Do you want me to give my 12-lecture course? Well, the thing is, the aging, what we have learned over all these 50, 60 years of research by hundreds of people, including myself, that aging is not built in our system. We are not made to age. Evolution does not make systems to age and die. But the fact is, if we live long enough, we will age and we will die. Now, this sounds a little paradox. Why couldn't evolution make us live forever and stay young forever? The answer is because evolution only works on continuation of generations. It needs a certain time for every species, according to the history of the species, that like a Drosophila, evolution needs about 10 days from the time the Drosophila egg is laid and the new one comes out and develops and matures and reproduces. This length of time, I introduced a term called essential lifespan. That's the time needed by evolution essentially for the survival of the species. Some of my friends in America call this time as even warranty period. Yeah. So like Drosophila, its essential lifespan is about 10 days. But when I bring Drosophila in my laboratory and under highly protected conditions, I want to do experiments on them, it can live for a month, 2 months, 3 months, depending upon what kind of games we play with that. Something similar is about rats and mice. They need about 1 year essential lifespan in nature. But in the laboratory, they can live 3 years. So what about our species? Homo sapiens, what's our essential lifespan? Sorry, Vasula, I'm going to make you a little bit depressed and disappointed. Our essential lifespan is 45 years. That's what nature wants us for, evolution. 45 doesn't mean that on 45th birthday I was dead, but 45 for the species, and people did not live even that long most of human history. We have started living longer than our essential lifespan, even double, or one person has lived 3 times in modern times. So the aging, what we call aging and old age, it only starts if you live longer than species essential lifespan. So when I celebrated my 45th birthday 22 years ago, that's when I entered into old age. I may call it whatever, middle age or no, already young age, but scientifically, that is the hard fact I have to accept. Age, if you live longer than your species' essential lifespan. The beauty is nothing starts it. It starts and leads to death, but there are no mechanisms which are making me old deliberately, which are taking me step by step towards death. No such thing. I even coined the term gerontogenes, that there might be genes which cause aging. But then we understood by mid-90s and the early 2000s that gerontogenes cannot exist. Evolution only makes longevity genes. It only makes genes to survive. But as everything else in evolution and in nature, nothing is perfect. Evolution does not work on perfection. It has made the system so that species should survive around 45 years at least, around. But then whatever happens to it, that allows it to happen. And what happens mostly is that no chemical system, no molecular system, no defense system, DNA repair, protein repair, autophagy, none of them is perfect. So sooner or later, even the survival systems start making mistakes or become damaged. And that is what then adds on to what we see the result of that damage. So aging is a byproduct of living longer than what nature expects. So if you want to say who causes aging, yes, the life causes aging itself. Life causes aging. Every time I breathe, I create tremendous amount of oxidative damage. Most of the time, in up to around 40, 45 years, that damage is taken care of. Yeah. Otherwise, I will die already before birth. Every time I eat, food creates a lot of damage. Glucose is the very damaging agent in the body. But then body has so complex systems, hundreds of genes involved in protection. But those are, again, as I said, they are not perfect. So when they cannot perform, or when the damage starts accumulating more and more, and then things go wrong. This progressively go wrong. So basically for me, the question is not what makes me age. The question is, why cannot I stay healthy? And why cannot I keep on living healthily? So that is a very fundamental understanding which biogerontologists gain. So it makes life very difficult. Because if there was a gene which causes aging, then it will be easy theoretically to send. It's just like having an enemy. If there is an enemy, you can neutralize it by armies, by missiles. But if there is no enemy, but still the body is collapsing, and still I am dying, I know one day I will die. I can't tell when. I know one day you will die, but I can't tell. The only compensation is I know all the people I hate, they will also die. Nobody is going to live forever. So for me, aging research basically is a question of how to maintain my health, how to recover if I have lost some health, or if I want to enhance some aspects of health. And that is where this question becomes very, very difficult, because we don't even know what is health. This was our book last year, where we invited philosophers, scientists, clinicians. Hey, what is the definition? What is health? We talk about health ministries, health departments, but we all work on sickness, diseases. What is health? And why should I be healthy? So aging research fascinates me from that point of view. Because yes, I would like to live hundreds of years, thousands of years, if I can maintain my health. And that question we need to discuss more. What does health mean to me? What does health mean to you? Yes, if health also means not having wrinkles, good enough, fair enough. Then we need to find things to remove wrinkles. If health also means I should not have white hair, good enough. Then I should need to find some coloring methods. So we have to define what is health and which part of health is important to me and to you. And then we see whether science can do something, or we just can wish for that. Yeah. So at the moment, that's why, sorry, I'm just taking a bit longer just to make my position clear. Yes. That I hate the word anti-aging. What do you mean by anti-aging? Do I want to become another 16-year-old again? Why should I be anti against myself? I am living and I have achieved this great lifespan because of human developments that we can live beyond essential lifespan. It's not a small achievement. It only happened about 100 years ago. This is a great achievement of human beings, that we can live much longer than what nature wants. But nature is not killing us, but nature is not even keeping us. So we have to do something about it ourselves. I look forward to live longer, but aging will continue with me. I cannot be against myself. I cannot approach my old age with hatred and anger or fear. Most of the time, anti-aging industry lives on fear. That if you are not healthy, you will have this disease and this cancer and that cancer. And as you know, philosophically and sociologically, fear never works. Has fear worked on our ethical system? You have to be ethical, otherwise you go to hell or heaven or whatever. No, it doesn't work. We have to be ethical for the sake of ethical. Why should I be ethical? Same thing is about health. Don't tell me I should do this and this, otherwise I am going to have disease in 10 years, 20 years, 40 years. No, it doesn't work. I need to be healthy today. And why? That I need to also know. Why should I be healthy? Yeah. So my whole research career, at least for the last 20 years, moved in the full-time thing, how to discover methods of maintaining health, reclaiming health, improving health, and if important, even enhancing health. Your turn.
It's like I can listen to this all day. It's really, really such an interesting topic, and I have so many questions while you were talking in my brain. I was thinking, okay, what about the genes? If someone, they said, some people they age sooner, some they look younger, and they say, oh, it's in the genes. My mom looks, etc. And also why some people they stay even if they do live a healthy life, they can still get illnesses, and some, they live a longer life.
Right.
But Suresh, what we have to do, we have to carry on this, because time flies.
I can see it's the 23 minutes already gone. Let me make a short comment on genes.
Yes.
Nothing in biology works without genes. So people should not misunderstand me when I say there are no aging genes. Yes, there are no aging genes to age me and kill me. There are genes to keep me alive and healthy, survival genes, for which sometime in aging field people call them longevity assurance genes or vita genes. Yeah. But everybody, we still don't know what is a perfect or best combination of vita genes. How many genes determine my health? And each gene comes in various formats. No two people are exactly the same. We don't even have the definition of what is the normal genetic constituency of a human being. We know when things go wrong. Yeah. The mutation in BRCA1 gene makes some women more prone to getting cancer. Yeah. Or there are some genes which can induce Alzheimer's disease early on. But they are not there to cause Alzheimer's gene. They are there so that the Alzheimer's does not happen, but things go wrong with those genes or the combination. We know very little about this complexity. How many genes are important for health? And which form? What is a normal combination? Is the chance of the gene combinations you and I got from our parents when they were in a happy, loving mood and they created us. That was where our fate was already determined in terms of survival genes, quality of life, health. Then, and even then, already in the womb of my mother, a lot of things set my epigenetics. How was the mood of my mother? What kind of nutrition she was having? What kind of diseases she was having? Those effects show up 60 years later. So that genetic part and epigenetics is a wonderful, wonderful area, very challenging. So don't misunderstand me that there are no genes. Oh, there are hundreds of genes, maybe thousands of genes. You have to say maybe every gene in our genome has something to do with our survival. Can we say that this gene is actually not important for my survival? There is not a single gene like that. Otherwise, we won't be there. So genes are very important, but they are not our enemies. They are survival genes, health genes. There is not even a single cancer gene. Do you think there are cancer genes? That genes are sitting in the body to cause cancer? Not a single gene. They are all genes who are doing something else normally for normal function. But when a mutation happens or something else goes wrong, the same gene ends up into either loss of function or a distorted function. Evolution has not evolved cancer genes. So it's the same thing. Gerontogenes are not there to cause aging. Genes are for survival, but those genes are not perfect, and we still don't know what is the perfect combination of genes, which then leads to what will happen to me in old age. Whether I can smoke 100 cigarettes every day and never get the cancer, or I have never even looked at a cigarette and I can get a cancer. That's such a big area of stochasticity. We must appreciate the concept of chance in life, which we, in sciences, we ignore. We think everything can be controlled. Yeah? But quantum physics tells us nothing can be 100% accurate 100% of the time. Sooner or later, things go wrong. It is not destiny. It is not kismet in, say, religious terms. It is the pure ideas from quantum physics, from the laws of entropy. Why entropy happens? Look, if systems were perfect, if there was no chance of things going wrong, there will be no evolution. So then the very first life form will be so perfect, nothing can come out of it. Evolution depends upon imperfection. Life depends upon imperfections up to essential lifespan, and then that is the cause of our death also. I've given you all the philosophy of aging. Okay.
And it's still plenty. So, I mean, what I would suggest, because there is still lots to discuss.
I know.
We would need to have part B of this show, if that's okay with you.
Well, we just have to time some suitable time again with each other.
Yes. Thank you very much for today. I really, really appreciate that. And
but one point. Yes. Maybe these 27 minutes can give some provocation to your listeners.
Excellent.
And they are encouraged to raise their questions. And they can write to you so that we can plan our part 2 or 3 in the framework of what people actually got in their minds. Did they get very depressed? Did they get happy? Did they get anything? Am I talking total nonsense? They should also tell that. Otherwise, whenever you will tell me again and we'll find time, we will talk. Yeah.
This is a great idea. Thank you very much. We will do that, and I will post the link, social media, and I will invite followers to raise their questions, to have them ready for you to answer on the next show, part B.
Yeah, that is where I will tell you how to maintain health, how to improve life, how to live forever if you want to live. I have a formula for living forever. But today we didn't reach that because we needed to set the platform or the scene for that.
I would like that if I can also stay young.
Yeah, that is another question. Why do you want to stay young? I don't want to stay young. I was idiot, immature, inexperienced when I was young. I have spent 67 years in learning something, in getting experience. I don't want to become young. I look forward to becoming old, wise man, the great Greek scholars. Yeah, I hate becoming young again. It has taken me 67 years to learn something in life. Yeah, you want to rewind me to the same teenage where I will go around? Yeah, no, I don't want that. Symptoms,
that's a very good way of looking at it.
Symptoms can be handled. I can remove your wrinkles, no problem. You can remove my white hair, no problem. That's a minor issue. Okay, Vasula. Sorry if I was
so much. I'll see you soon. We speak again soon. Thank you.
See you soon. Have a nice time. Thank you for today. Fine.
Αγαπητοί φίλοι και φίλες, εμείς θα τα πούμε και πάλι την ερχόμενη Πέμπτη με ίσως τον Suresh, για να ολοκληρώσουμε, αν μπορέσουμε να ολοκληρώσουμε αυτή την εκπομπή, ή με κάποιον άλλο φιλοξενούμενο. Καλό βράδυ.